Hello! If you're watching this video, that means you know how to solve a Rubik's Cube, and you want to know how you can get faster. But before you do that, we need to understand what this thing is. First thing is, this is the Volk 3. It is a type of 3x3 puzzle. This, however, is a Rubik's Cube. As you see, it has the Rubik's logo and was made by the Rubik's brand. All these other puzzles were made by different companies. This one was made by Chi. This one was also made by Chi. This one was made by Yushin. So these are all different types of puzzles, and they're actually called twisty puzzles. That is the correct term. And twisty puzzles include all type of these puzzles that have mechanisms and whatever and whatnot. So yeah. So if you're just a beginner and you know how to solve the Rubik's Cube and you're looking for a way to get faster, one thing I can suggest is if you have a budget cube, then maybe you want to get a better cube. When you're looking in buying a Rubik's Cube, there are a few things you want to look at. The first one is speed. That means how easily and how fast the pieces turn. So on some cubes, that's very slow, and on other cubes, that's fast. The Volk is on the slower side, and with slowness becomes more controllability. So you need to find a cube that is fast enough for you, but also is controllable. For instance, this GTS3 is very fast, but as you can see, it's also very loose, which means it can lock up a little bit and catch, and that will not be good for your solves. In this Volk, it's a little bit slower, so it's a little bit more easy to control. So you need to find a good balance. One thing that helps with controllability is magnets. Magnets can help keep the pieces together. So right here on this piece and on this piece there are magnets. So if I turn this, you'll see a bump, and that's where the magnets are clicking into their pieces. So look into a magnetic cube maybe. They're a bit more pricey, and as a beginner I would say that it's not completely necessary to get a magnetic cube. The best budget cube, I would say, for anyone solving above a minute would probably be the MF3RS2. That one is pretty fast and is also pretty controllable, and you can also get a magnetic version if you want to. There are two main websites for buying cubes from. One is the Cubicle and one is SpeedCube Shop. Maybe you want to look into those, but as a beginner, don't go overboard in buying cubes because you really don't have a use for them. I would say until you're under like 40 seconds, then try not to buy too many cubes, because if you buy a really good one while you're not that good at cubing, a new one will come out by the time you are good, and then you'll have to spend more money. On the other hand, I do think it is important to have at least a decent cube, so the MF3RS2 is a very good choice. This is what the inside of a Rubik's Cube looks like. As you see, you have these corner pieces and these edge pieces. They go together like this, and they move around in the cube. So the cube can move this. Okay. This is the core, and as you see, all the center pieces are attached to the core. They can get out of here. They can spin around like this, and all these pieces around it spin around, well, like that. Other things that help you speed up your cube and slow it down are called lubricants, and things like DNM37 and silicone lube can help increase or decrease the speed of your puzzle, and they can also make your puzzle feel smoother and feel less crunchy or bumpy. So there are a lot of different lubricants out there that do different things, and you can also try those out if you want. I'm too lazy to put this cube back together right now, so I'm just gonna... But now the part of the video that you're really excited for, how do you just get faster at the cube? There's always the option to learn more algorithms, but intuitiveness is also a big part of the cube, knowing what to do at what time, and I'm here to help with that. So my question to you right now is, what's going to take up the most time in your solve? The thing that takes the most amount of time during your solve that can be avoided right away is doing unnecessary rotations. Looking around the cube and rotating like this takes away a lot from the solve. That's really unnecessary, and pro solvers really only turn the cube a few times during their solve. The less times you take rotating, the more time that you can focus on moving the cube and getting closer to finishing your solve. In saying that, probably the most important thing to do as a beginner is try to solve cross on the bottom. That means keep this white side on the bottom at all times. And this is going to be really hard at first because you can't see your cross, but in time it'll be a lot easier. Also, you can always solve cross pieces adjacent. You don't have to line the cross up first. For instance, this red piece is solved, so I would do a U2 to solve it. But right here, I can say this blue piece can go in one move. And as you see, red is to the right of blue. So in this case, I can put that piece right in. Then when I flick over, both of these pieces are solved. That's why it's also important to learn the color scheme of the cube. So white is on the bottom, yellow is on top, and learn that these centers are where they are. For instance, red is to the right of blue. And so now as I see, this orange piece can go in one move, like this, because I realized that orange is to the left of blue. Finally, this green piece can go in, and I can do that simply by moving the cross so I can put the green piece in. And then the last step of that is to align all the pieces. Every cross should be able to be solved in about 8 moves or less. So that's a really good thing to practice. If you're having trouble solving cross on the bottom, try looking at your cross, then finding one piece to go in, like this one, and instead of solving the cross, then put the cross on the bottom and just do that piece. Then you can look around again, find this one has to go here, and then so I know that I'm going to have to move this piece here, so when I do an R2, this piece will go down. So once I figure out what I'm going to do for that piece, then I'll do it with the cross on the bottom. And then after I solve all the pieces, I can align them after. Those are some things to practice. The next important step, which I will go over in a separate video, after you feel comfortable solving in the beginner's method, is to learn intuitive F2L. And basically what that means is instead of putting this corner in here separately from the edge, you're going to learn how to put these two pieces in together into their slot. So it's not as hard as it looks, but it is probably one of the most useful steps in all of speed cubing.